The gun was already pressed against her forehead when the Mafia boss realized he knew her name. Not from a file, not from a photograph, from a secret that should have died with his father. "Please," the woman whispered. Rain hammered the windows of the abandoned warehouse, drowning out the distant sound of sirens. Her hands were tied behind her back, her dark hair soaked against her face, and a thin line of blood ran from the corner of her mouth. The man standing in front of her raised the gun another inch. "Boss gave the order," he said. "You don't walk out of here." The woman closed her eyes. Then she said 4 words. "Your father didn't die." The gun lowered, only slightly. But in the world of Luca Moretti, even a fraction of hesitation could mean the difference between mercy and death. Luca stepped forward. The men around him immediately went silent. He was 34 years old, dressed in a black suit that had somehow remained untouched by the rain, his expression as cold as the steel in his hand. For 8 years, the Moretti name had been feared across Chicago. Politicians returned his calls. Police commanders looked the other way. Rivals disappeared, and men who betrayed him rarely lived long enough to regret it. Luca stopped 3 feet from the woman. "Say it again." She opened her eyes. Fear was there, but something else was there too. Defiance. "Your father didn't die in the car bombing." Luca stared at her. No one moved. The warehouse seemed to shrink around them. His father had died 11 years ago. Luca had watched the coffin disappear beneath Italian soil. He had personally ordered the men responsible for the bombing hunted down. Every one of them was dead, or so he had believed. He crouched in front of the woman. "Who are you?" "Emma Carter." The name meant nothing. At least, it should have. Luca studied her face. "Who sent you?" "No one." "Wrong answer. I came because I knew you'd kill me if I told you the truth. You're alive. For now." One of Luca's men stepped closer. "Boss, she's stalling." Luca raised one finger. The man stopped immediately. Luca never shouted. He never needed to. He looked back at Emma. "What did you know about my father?" Emma swallowed. "He wasn't killed by the people you think killed him." "Then who killed him?" "I don't know." Luca's expression hardened. "You expect me to believe that? I expect you to understand that someone wants me dead because I found the evidence." She leaned forward as much as the ropes allowed. "And if you kill me, you'll never know who betrayed your family." Silence. Luca's eyes narrowed. "What evidence?" Emma hesitated. That hesitation told him more than her words. She was afraid of something. Not him. Something worse. "Where is it?" "I don't have it." His jaw tightened. "Then where is it?" "Somewhere only I can find." The man behind Luca laughed. "Boss, this is ridiculous. She's manipulating you." Luca didn't look away from Emma. "Maybe." He stood. Then he suddenly turned toward his lieutenant. "Kill everyone in the building." The lieutenant blinked. "Everyone?" "Everyone." Emma's face went pale. The men around them reached for their weapons. Then Luca added quietly, "Except her." The warehouse erupted. Gunfire cracked through the darkness. Emma screamed as Luca grabbed her and pulled her behind a concrete pillar. Bullets tore through wooden crates. Glass shattered. One of Luca's men dropped to the floor. Luca fired twice over the edge of the pillar. 2 attackers fell. Emma stared at him. "You knew they were coming." "No." "Then why?" "Because nobody outside my organization knew you were here." He looked at her. "And someone just found us." Another burst of gunfire. Luca pulled Emma lower. She pressed herself against the cold concrete, breathing hard. "Untie me. You're not in a position to make demands." "I can help." "You're tied to a chair." "I can still think." For the first time, something almost resembling amusement crossed Luca's face. "You're remarkably calm for someone surrounded by armed men." "I'm terrified." "Good. I'm just better at hiding it than you expected. The faint amusement disappeared. A bullet struck the pillar inches from Luca's head. His expression turned lethal. He leaned around the concrete. 3 shots. Silence. Then footsteps. Luca immediately grabbed Emma. Move. I can't. He cut the ropes around her wrists with his knife. Emma stumbled to her feet. Where? Stay behind me. They moved through the warehouse. Luca knew every exit, every blind corner, every possible ambush point. But halfway toward the rear door, Emma suddenly grabbed his sleeve. Wait. Luca stopped. What? She pointed toward a stack of metal containers. There's someone there. Luca listened. Nothing. Emma whispered, 3 breaths ago I heard metal scrape. Luca stared at her. Then he raised his gun. A shadow moved. Luca fired. A man collapsed from behind the containers. Emma exhaled. You're welcome. Luca looked at her. You heard that? Yes. How? My father taught me. Your father? Emma looked away. That's complicated. Everything about you is complicated. They reached the rear exit. Luca pushed the door open. Rain exploded into the warehouse. Black SUVs waited outside. His men immediately surrounded them. Luca opened the rear door of the nearest vehicle. Emma hesitated. Get in. Where are you taking me? My house. No. Luca looked at her. No? I'd rather go anywhere else. You have no idea how many people are currently trying to kill you. I know exactly how many. He paused. Emma looked toward the darkness beyond the warehouse. 7. Luca's eyes sharpened. What? 7 men came for me tonight. You saw them? No. Then how do you know? Because there were 7 sets of footprints outside before your men arrived. Luca stared at her. Emma met his eyes. Your enemy isn't trying to scare you, Mr. Moretti. She stepped closer. They're testing how quickly you'll protect me. For several seconds, neither spoke. Then Luca opened the door wider. Get in. This time she did. The Moretti estate stood behind 12-foot iron gates on the outskirts of the city. It wasn't a home. It was a fortress disguised as one. Security cameras watched every entrance. Armed guards stood beneath the covered walkways. Black SUVs lined the driveway. Emma stared through the window. You live here? I sleep here. There's a difference? Yes. Luca got out first. Emma followed. The moment they entered the mansion, several armed men moved toward them. Search the property, Luca ordered. For what? Anyone who doesn't belong. His lieutenant nodded. Emma watched the men disappear down the hallway. Luca turned toward her. You'll stay here tonight. I don't want to. I wasn't asking. I noticed. His eyes narrowed. You're either very brave or very stupid. I've been called both. By whom? My father. Luca paused. Again, that name. Her father. Something about the way she said it bothered him. What's your father's name? Emma didn't answer. Emma. She looked at him. Daniel Carter. Luca froze. The name hit him like a bullet. Daniel Carter. A name he hadn't heard in years. A name buried in the oldest records of the Moretti family. His father had trusted exactly one American outside the organization. Daniel Carter, his father's lawyer, his closest friend, and the last person known to have seen him alive. Luca stepped closer. You said your father taught you how to recognize gunfire. He did. Where is he now? Emma's eyes dropped. Dead. Luca's expression changed. How? I was told it was a heart attack. You don't believe that? No. Why? Because he was 39. Luca stared at her. 39. The same age his father had been when he died. He felt a chill move down his spine. Your father left you something. Emma didn't answer. Luca's voice hardened. What did he leave you? A warning. What warning? She looked directly into his eyes. He told me never to trust the Moretti family. Luca's face became unreadable. And yet you came to me. Because he also told me that if someone ever came looking for me, I should find the one Moretti who still believed his father was murdered. Luca's breathing stopped for half a second. Who? I don't know. You don't know? He never gave me a name. Then why did you come here? Emma reached into the lining of her jacket. Luca immediately raised his gun. She stopped. Slowly, she pulled out a small silver key. There was a number engraved on it. 17. Luca stared at it. He knew that key. Or rather, he knew what it belonged to. His father's private vault. A vault that had been sealed 11 years ago. A vault no one had been able to open. How did you get that? From my father. Where is the vault? Emma looked at him. You know where it is. Luca's mind raced. His father's study. The old library. The hidden room behind the fireplace. He had searched it countless times. Never finding anything. Why didn't you give me this before? Because I needed to know whether you'd kill me. You could have told me. You're a mafia boss. She gave him a tired smile. People don't usually survive long enough to ask you for favors. Luca almost smiled. Almost. Then the lights went out. Every light in the mansion died at once. The guards shouted. A gunshot echoed from the second floor. Luca grabbed Emma and pulled her against the wall. Stay here. No. Emma, you don't know what's happening. I know exactly what's happening. He looked toward the dark hallway. Someone breached my house. A second gunshot. Then another. Luca's men returned fire. Emma looked at him. You have a security system. Yes. So how did they get inside? Luca didn't answer. Because he already knew. Someone inside the mansion had disabled it. Someone he trusted. The emergency lights flickered on. Red illumination filled the hallway. Luca drew his weapon. Stay behind me. They moved slowly toward the library. A body lay on the floor. One of Luca's guards. Emma stopped. Don't touch him. Luca looked down. What? He wasn't shot. Luca crouched. There was no blood. No bullet wound. Emma pointed toward his neck. Look. A tiny puncture mark. Poison. Luca stood. How did you know? My father taught me to look for things people don't want noticed. Then something crashed upstairs. Luca looked at the ceiling. Emma whispered, They're looking for the vault. No. He looked at her. They're looking for you. Before Emma could answer, a voice came through the mansion's security speakers. Distorted. Cold. Luca. Every muscle in Luca's body tightened. The voice continued. You should have killed her when you had the chance. Luca raised his gun toward the ceiling. Who are you? A low laugh echoed through the house. Ask her. Emma went pale. Luca turned toward her. Ask me what? She shook her head. The voice returned. She knows why your father died. Luca stared at Emma. Is that true? Emma's lips parted. I know part of it. Part? I know who betrayed him. Luca stepped toward her. Who? Emma looked terrified now. Not because of the voice, because of the answer. Your uncle. The mansion fell silent. Luca's uncle had died 6 years ago. A stroke. At least, that was what everyone had believed. Luca's gun lowered by an inch. You're lying. I wish I were. Your uncle was loyal to my father. He wasn't. He raised me. I know. He taught me everything. I know. Then explain. Emma's voice trembled. Your father discovered that someone inside the family was selling information to the enemy. Luca stared at her. Who? Your uncle. No. He found out. No. He was going to expose him. Luca's eyes darkened. And that's why he was killed. Emma nodded. The car bombing was staged to look like an attack from the outside. Luca felt something inside him crack. 11 years of certainty. 11 years of revenge. 11 years of believing he had killed the right people. All of it suddenly looked like a lie. Then Emma whispered, "Your uncle didn't work alone." Luca looked at her. "Who else?" She didn't answer. Emma, her eyes filled with fear. "Your father suspected someone much closer." The security speaker clicked. The distorted voice returned. "Tell him." Emma shook her head. "Tell him who ordered the bombing." The doors of the library suddenly slammed shut. Luca spun around. Locked. Then the fireplace behind them opened. A hidden passage. Luca stared. He had spent 11 years searching for that room. Emma looked at him. "I think we just found your father's vault." Luca stepped toward the opening. Then he heard the sound of a gun being cocked behind them. Emma froze. A man's voice whispered from the darkness. "Don't move." Luca slowly raised his hands. Emma turned. And the person standing behind them was not one of Luca's enemies. It was the man Luca trusted most, his own lieutenant. The gun was pointed directly at Emma. "I'm sorry, boss." Luca's eyes hardened. "Put the gun down." "I can't." "Why?" The lieutenant looked at Emma, then back at Luca. "Because your father left instructions." Luca's expression changed. "What instructions?" The lieutenant swallowed. "He told me that if Daniel Carter's daughter ever came looking for you." He tightened his grip on the gun. "I was supposed to make sure she never left this house alive." Emma's face went white. And for the first time that night, Luca understood the truth. The woman he had been ordered to kill was not the enemy. She was the key. And someone inside his own family had been waiting 11 years for her to return. "Put the gun down." Luca's voice was quiet. Too quiet. His lieutenant, Marcus, kept the weapon trained on Emma. "I can't, boss." Luca took one slow step forward. "You just pointed a gun at the woman standing beside me." "I was ordered to." "By whom?" Marcus said nothing. Luca's eyes hardened. "I asked you a question." Marcus swallowed. "Your father." For 1 second, Luca didn't move. Then he laughed. It wasn't amusement. It was disbelief. "My father has been dead for 11 years. "I know." "Then explain how a dead man gave you an order." Marcus's eyes shifted toward the hidden passage behind the fireplace. "He left instructions." "Instructions for what?" "For the day she came back." Emma's face had gone pale. Luca noticed. "You knew she was coming?" Marcus looked at her. "I knew someone would," Emma whispered. "You knew my father?" Marcus didn't answer. Luca's jaw tightened. "Enough." He stepped forward. Marcus raised the gun. "Boss." Luca moved faster. He struck Marcus's wrist. The gun went off. The bullet buried itself in the ceiling. Emma screamed. Luca slammed Marcus against the wall and twisted his arm behind his back. "You have 5 seconds." Marcus struggled. 5 seconds for what? "To tell me who is behind this." Marcus gritted his teeth. "I don't know." Luca tightened his grip. 1. "I swear." 2. "I was only following instructions." 3. Marcus finally broke. "Victor." Luca froze. "Victor who?" "Your uncle." The room went silent. Emma stared at Luca. Luca released Marcus. His lieutenant dropped to his knees, breathing heavily. "You told me he was dead." Marcus looked up. "He is." "Then why are you still taking orders from him?" Marcus's face changed. "I wasn't." "Then what did you mean?" Marcus pointed toward the hidden passage. "Someone is using his name." Luca looked at Emma. She already understood. "Someone wants you to believe your uncle is alive," she said. Luca didn't answer. He walked toward the passage. Emma followed. "Stay here." "No." "Emma." You need me. Luca turned. You've been inside my house for less than an hour. And I've already found your poison guard, your hidden vault, and the man who betrayed you. She held up the silver key. You're going to need me. Luca stared at her. He hated that she was right. Fine. He stepped aside. But you stay behind me. I'll consider it. That wasn't a request. I know. They entered the passage. The hidden corridor smelled of dust and old wood. Their footsteps echoed beneath the mansion. Emma followed closely. After 20 feet, the passage opened into a small stone room. At the center stood a steel door. Number 17 was engraved above the lock. Emma held out the key. Luca watched her insert it. Click. Nothing happened. She turned the key again. Still nothing. Luca frowned. It's the wrong key. No. Emma looked closer. There's another lock. She ran her fingers beneath the metal plate. A tiny opening appeared. It's biometric. Luca stared. My father never told me this room existed. Maybe he didn't trust you. Luca's eyes darkened. Careful. Emma looked at him. I'm not insulting you. Sounds like it. I'm saying your father may have known that whoever inherited his empire couldn't be trusted with everything. Luca didn't respond. Instead, he placed his hand against the scanner. Nothing. Emma looked at the door. Try your other hand. He did. Nothing. Then Emma noticed something. Your ring. Luca looked down. The old black ring had belonged to his father. He had worn it since the night of the funeral. Emma pointed. Try that. Luca pressed the ring against the scanner. A green light appeared. The steel door unlocked. Neither of them moved. Luca slowly pushed it open. Inside was not money, not weapons, not documents. There was a single wooden desk, a chair, 3 filing cabinets, and a tape recorder. Luca walked toward it. Dust covered everything, except the tape recorder. Someone had touched it recently. He pressed play. Static filled the room. Then a man's voice emerged. Luca stopped breathing. Luca, his father's voice. Older, tired, but unmistakable. Emma looked at him. The recording continued. If you're hearing this, then I'm already dead. Luca's fingers curled into a fist. I know you will spend years trying to discover who killed me. A pause. Don't. Luca stared at the recorder. Because the truth will destroy the family you built. Another pause. Someone I trusted betrayed me. Emma moved closer. The recording continued. And if Daniel Carter's daughter is standing beside you when you hear this. Luca looked at Emma. Then the betrayal has already begun again. The tape clicked. Then silence. Luca stared at the machine. Emma whispered, What does that mean? I don't know. The tape suddenly started again. This time, the voice sounded different. Urgent. Luca, listen carefully. He stepped closer. The person who ordered my death is not the person you think. Luca's eyes narrowed. I was not killed because I was your father. A pause. I was killed because I discovered what they were building. The tape stopped. Emma stared at the machine. What were they building? Luca shook his head. There has to be another recording. They searched the room. Nothing. Then Emma noticed the desk. One drawer was slightly open. She pulled it. Inside was a photograph. 3 men stood together. Luca's father, Daniel Carter, and a third man. Emma took the photograph. Her face changed. Do you know him? Luca looked at the picture. Yes. Who? Anthony Vale. Emma's expression went blank. That's impossible. Why? He's dead. Luca looked at her. How do you know? Because my father told me he killed him. Luca stared at her. Emma continued. He said Anthony Vale was the man who betrayed your family. Luca's eyes moved back to the photograph. 3 friends. 3 men who were supposed to be dead. One impossible mystery. Then Emma noticed something written on the back. A date. And 6 numbers. What's that? Luca read it. That's not a date. What is it? A bank vault code. He looked at Emma. Where did your father work? She hesitated. Carter and Vale. Luca's eyes sharpened. Vale? My father's law firm. Luca looked at the photograph again. The third man suddenly made sense. Anthony Vale had not just been an associate. He had been Daniel Carter's partner, and possibly the man who knew everything. 2 hours later, Emma sat across from Luca in his study. The rain had stopped. The city outside was black and silent. Luca stood by the window, holding the photograph. You're staying here. Emma sighed. Again? Yes. I need to find my father's records. So do I. Then we're doing it together. Luca turned. No? Emma frowned. You just said... I said we're finding them. I know. You're not coming. Emma stood. Why? Because if someone is targeting you, you're safer here. That's not protection. What is it? Locking me in a mansion while you go investigate the people trying to kill me. Luca's expression hardened. You don't understand what you're dealing with. Then explain it. No. Exactly. She stepped closer. You keep deciding what I can handle. Because I know what this world does to people. And I don't? Luca looked at her. You've been running from it your entire life. Emma's voice softened. My father spent my entire childhood teaching me how to survive it. That stopped him. She looked down. He knew someone would come for me eventually. Luca's anger faded slightly. Why didn't he leave the country? He tried. What happened? Emma looked toward the window. He died before we could. Luca studied her. For the first time, he noticed the exhaustion beneath her eyes. She hadn't slept. She hadn't eaten. She had been hunted all night. And yet she was still standing. Sit. I don't need. Sit. She reluctantly sat. Luca poured her a glass of water. She looked at it, then at him. You're not what I expected. That's unfortunate. You're supposed to be cruel. I am. You just gave me water. Don't get sentimental. A tiny smile appeared on her lips. It disappeared almost immediately. Luca noticed. And for some reason, he wanted to see it again. He looked away. Eat something. I don't have an appetite. You're eating. Do you always order people around? Yes. Must be exhausting. It is. Emma almost laughed. For a moment, the room felt strangely normal. No guns. No enemies. No dead fathers. Just 2 people sitting across from each other. Then Luca noticed something. Emma's hands were shaking. He reached toward her. She flinched. Luca stopped. His expression softened. You're safe. Emma looked at him. You don't know that. Yes, I do. How? Because anyone who wants you has to come through me first. Her eyes stayed on his. Neither spoke. The distance between them suddenly felt smaller. Then Luca's phone rang. He answered. What? His expression changed. Repeat that. Emma watched him. Luca listened. Lock the gates. A pause. No one leaves the property. He hung up. What happened? Luca grabbed his jacket. One of my warehouses was attacked. Why? They weren't after weapons. Emma stood. What were they after? Luca looked at her. Your father's files. The warehouse was burning when they arrived. Flames climbed into the night sky. Luca stepped out of the SUV. His men surrounded him. Emma stayed beside him. You shouldn't be here. I know. He looked at her. You're becoming difficult. I've been told. Luca almost smiled. Then his lieutenant approached. 3 men dead, 2 missing. Files? Gone. Luca looked at the burning building. Who knew about them? No one. Emma interrupted. Someone knew. Everyone looked at her. She pointed toward the road. Look at the tire tracks. Luca crouched. 2 vehicles. 1. He looked again. She was right. Only 1 set belongs to your men. Emma nodded. The second vehicle wasn't here to steal the files. Luca looked at her. Then what was it here for? To make you think the files were stolen. A cold silence fell. Luca understood. Then where are they? Emma looked toward the warehouse. Inside. Luca's eyes narrowed. The fire is too controlled. What? Look at the flames. She pointed. The east side is burning harder. Exactly. Luca looked at his men. Everyone out. He grabbed Emma's hand. They moved back. 3 seconds later, boom. The warehouse exploded. Heat blasted across the parking lot. Emma stumbled. Luca caught her around the waist. For a moment, she was pressed against his chest. His arm tightened instinctively. Her breathing stopped. So did his. Then Luca looked down at her. You hurt? No. You sure? Yes. Neither moved. His hand remained at her waist. Emma looked up. Luca, he released her. Stay close. She nodded. The fire continued to burn. Then a firefighter shouted from the wreckage. Boss! Luca turned. A metal box had been thrown clear of the explosion. It was scorched, but intact. Luca walked toward it. Emma followed. He opened the box. Inside was a single envelope. Her name was written across it. Emma Carter. She stared. I've never seen that handwriting. Luca handed it to her. Open it. Emma hesitated, then tore the envelope. Inside was a single photograph. Her father, standing beside Luca's father, and behind them, a young boy. Emma stared at the photograph. That. Luca took it. His face changed. The boy was about 12 years old. He was standing between the 2 men. Luca recognized him immediately. He had seen that face thousands of times. In mirrors. In old family photographs. In his father's office. The boy was him. But something was wrong. Luca looked at the date written on the photograph. It was taken 3 months before his father's death. He turned the photograph over. 6 words were written on the back. Your father knew you would betray him. Luca's blood ran cold. Emma looked at him. What does it mean? Before Luca could answer, his phone rang. Unknown number. He answered. Silence. Then a man's voice. Luca. Luca's expression became murderous. Who is this? The voice laughed. You're asking the wrong question. Then give me the right one. A pause. Ask Emma why her father really died. Luca slowly turned toward her. Emma's face had gone white. The voice continued. She knows. The call ended. Luca lowered the phone. Emma. She looked at him. Tell me. I can't. Tell me. My father made me promise. To keep what secret? She closed her eyes. The night before he died, her voice broke. He told me he had discovered who ordered your father's murder. Luca stared at her. Who? Emma opened her eyes. You. Luca didn't move. What? He said the order came from inside your family. She swallowed. And the person who carried it out, her eyes filled with tears, was you. Luca's face turned completely still. That is impossible. I know. Then why did he say it? I don't know. Luca stepped away from her. For the first time since they had met, he looked at Emma not as a woman he needed to protect, but as a woman who might be hiding the truth. Then the mansion lights in the distance suddenly went dark. Again. Luca's phone vibrated. One message. One photograph. Emma looked over his shoulder. It showed the Moretti mansion, taken from inside. Then another message appeared. You brought her home. A second message followed. Now she's going to watch you die. Luca looked toward the mansion. His hand tightened around his gun. Emma whispered his name. He didn't answer. Because somewhere inside his own house, someone was waiting for them. And this time, Luca knew the enemy wasn't trying to kill Emma. They were trying to make Luca believe she had betrayed him. Luca stared at the message on his phone. Now she's going to watch you die. For several seconds, the world seemed completely still. The burning warehouse behind them, the black sky above, Emma standing only a few feet away. Luca slowly lowered his phone. Get in the car. Emma didn't move. Luca, now. Something in his voice made her obey. She climbed into the SUV. Luca followed and slammed the door. Drive. The driver accelerated toward the estate. Emma sat across from him, her hands folded tightly in her lap. You think I betrayed you? Luca didn't answer. Say it. His eyes lifted. I don't know what to think. That isn't the same thing. No. His voice was cold. It isn't. Emma looked away. I didn't lie to you. You withheld information. Because I was afraid. Of me? She looked back at him. No. Then who? My father. Luca's expression tightened. Your father is dead. I know. Then you don't need to protect him anymore. Emma stared at the rain streaking down the window. You don't understand. Then make me understand. She remained silent. Luca leaned forward. Emma. She finally looked at him. When I was 16, my father told me something I never forgot. What? He said there were two kinds of people in this world. Luca waited. People who know the truth. And people who survive it. A bitter smile crossed her face. He said I wasn't ready for the truth. Luca's eyes narrowed. What happened when you became ready? I found him dead. The words landed quietly. Luca looked away. He understood grief. More than most people ever could. The SUV passed through the iron gates. Luca immediately noticed something wrong. No guards. No movement. No lights. He raised his gun. Stop. The driver braked. Luca opened the door. Stay here. Emma grabbed his wrist. You said I was going to watch you die. Luca looked down at her hand. That's not happening. Then don't go alone. He stared at her. She didn't release him. For a moment, neither moved. Then Luca nodded. Stay behind me. They entered the mansion. The silence was wrong. Too complete. Luca moved through the hallway with his gun raised. Emma followed. They reached the main staircase. A body lay beneath it. One of Luca's guards. Then another. And another. Emma covered her mouth. Luca looked at the bodies. No blood. No bullet wounds. Again. Poison. They're killing everyone quietly, Emma whispered. Luca nodded. Why? To keep the alarm from spreading. Who could do this? Someone who knows the house. They moved toward the study. The door was open. Inside, the room had been torn apart. Drawers emptied. Books thrown onto the floor. Paintings ripped from the walls. Luca walked to his father's desk. Nothing. Emma noticed a framed photograph lying face down. She picked it up. It was the same photograph from the vault. Luca's father, Daniel Carter, Anthony Vale, young Luca. But there was something else. A reflection in the window behind them. A fourth person. Emma leaned closer. Luca. He took the photograph. What? Look at the window. He studied it. The reflection was faint, but unmistakable. A woman stood behind the group. Luca frowned. Who is she? Emma shook her head. I don't know. Luca turned the photograph over. The date was still there. 3 months before his father's death. He stared at the reflection. Then suddenly, he recognized the necklace. His mother's necklace. Luca's breathing changed. My mother. Emma looked at him. Your mother was there? She died when I was 10. How? Car accident. Emma looked at the photograph again. She was alive when this was taken. Luca didn't answer. His entire understanding of his childhood was collapsing. He turned toward the desk. Help me search. For what? Anything my father left behind. They searched for 20 minutes. Emma examined the bookshelves. Luca searched the desk. Nothing. Then Emma noticed the old grandfather clock. It had stopped at 2:17. She touched the side. The clock moved. A hidden compartment opened. Inside was a small cassette and a folded letter. Emma picked up the letter. Her name was written on it. For Emma Carter. Her fingers trembled. Luca watched her. You don't have to open it. Yes. She unfolded the paper. The handwriting was her father's. Emma, if you are reading this, then I failed to keep you away from the Moretti family. I need you to understand one thing. Luca is not the enemy, but someone close to him is. Emma's eyes filled with tears. She continued, do not trust anyone who tells you your father's death was an accident. And if Luca ever learns what happened 11 years ago, he may hate you for what I made you do. Emma stopped reading. Luca noticed. What did he make you do? She folded the letter. Nothing. Emma. Emma. She looked at him. I was told to watch you. Luca's eyes hardened. By whom? My father. How long? Since I met you. When did you meet me? 2 years ago. Luca stared. The realization hit him. You didn't come into my life tonight. No. You've been watching me. Yes. Why? To protect you. He laughed once. You were spying on me. I was making sure you stayed alive. That's not an answer. It is the only one I have. Luca stepped closer. How many times? Emma swallowed. How many times did you save me without telling me? She looked down. 3. Luca's anger faltered. 3? The shooting outside the Verona club. Luca remembered. His driver had suddenly changed routes. He had assumed it was Marcus. It was you? Yes. The brake failure on the bridge? Yes. That wasn't mechanical. No. And the sniper at the charity gala? Emma nodded. Luca stared at her. You were there. I was. You saved my life. Emma's eyes met his. Yes. Silence. Luca didn't know what to say. The woman he had suspected of betraying him had secretly protected him 3 times. Why? Because your father asked me to. Luca's voice softened. Why would he care what happened to me? Emma looked at him. Because he loved you. Luca froze. My father? He considered you his son. The words broke something inside him. Luca turned away. He had spent 11 years believing his father had left him only an empire. Now he was discovering that the man had left behind secrets, enemies, and love he had never understood. Emma watched him. You okay? No. It was the first honest answer he'd given her. She stepped closer. I'm sorry. Luca looked at her. She was close. Too close. For a moment, the danger outside disappeared. There was only her. His hand lifted almost unconsciously. He touched a strand of wet hair near her cheek. Emma went still. Neither spoke. Luca's eyes dropped to her lips, then back to her eyes. Emma whispered his name. The phone rang. They both stepped apart. Luca answered. Speak. Marcus's voice came through. Boss, we found something. What? There's someone alive in the basement. Luca's expression changed. Who? A pause. You need to see this yourself. The basement smelled of damp stone. Luca and Emma descended the stairs. Marcus waited at the bottom. His face was pale. Who is it? Marcus stepped aside. A man sat chained to a chair. Older. Bruised. Barely conscious. Emma stopped. No. Luca looked at her. You know him? She couldn't speak. Luca walked closer. The man slowly raised his head. His eyes found Emma, then Luca. Daniel. Emma's voice broke. The man smiled weakly. Your father wanted you to believe I was dead. Luca stared. Who are you? The man looked at him. Anthony Vale. Luca's hand tightened around his gun. You died 6 years ago. I was supposed to. Emma stepped forward. Why did my father tell me you killed him? Anthony laughed weakly. Because he needed you to hate me. Why? To keep you alive. Luca stared at him. Start talking. Anthony looked toward the ceiling. They know I'm here. Who? The people who took your father from you. Names. Anthony's eyes moved to Emma. Your father was right about one thing. What? Luca cannot know everything yet. Luca's voice became dangerous. You're in no position to decide what I can know. Anthony smiled. That's exactly what your father said. Then he looked at Emma. Did he tell you about the night your mother disappeared? Emma froze. My mother? Anthony nodded. She wasn't dead. Emma's face drained of color. What? She disappeared because she found out who was controlling the Moretti family. Luca stepped closer. Who? Anthony's eyes filled with fear. You. Luca frowned. What? You're the reason they stayed hidden. I don't understand. Anthony looked at him. They didn't control your father. They controlled you. Silence. Emma shook her head. What does that mean? Anthony whispered. Your father discovered that Luca's mother was alive. Luca stopped breathing. My mother? She had been protecting you from the beginning. Luca's eyes widened. Where is she? Anthony looked toward the ceiling. She's closer than you think. A gunshot shattered the basement window. Anthony's head snapped backward. Emma screamed. Luca grabbed her and dropped behind the stone wall. Marcus fired toward the window. Sniper! Luca pulled Emma lower. Another bullet struck the wall. Stay down! Anthony was still alive. Barely. Luca crawled toward him. Who did this? Anthony grabbed his sleeve. Your mother? He coughed. Find your mother. Then his eyes closed. Luca looked at Emma. She was crying, but before either of them could move, Marcus's radio crackled. A voice came through. Boss. What? We have a problem upstairs. Luca stood. What kind? The front gate is open. Lock it. We can't. Why? The voice on the radio trembled. Because someone is standing outside. Who? A pause. Then, a woman. Luca looked at Emma. Who? The answer came. She says her name is Isabella Moretti. Luca's blood ran cold. His mother's name, the woman he had buried 24 years ago. He turned toward the stairs. Emma grabbed his hand. Luca? He looked at her. For the first time, fear was visible in his eyes. Not fear for himself, fear of the truth. Then another message came through the radio. Boss. What? She has a gun. Luca tightened his grip on Emma's hand, and she's pointing it at the house. Outside, thunder rolled across the city. A woman who had been dead for 24 years had returned, and she had come armed. Isabella Moretti. Luca repeated the name as if saying it aloud might make the impossible disappear. It didn't. His mother's name had been buried in his memory for 24 years. A woman he remembered only through fragments. The smell of her perfume, the sound of her laughter, a hand brushing his hair before bedtime, and then nothing. A funeral, a closed coffin, his father's silence, and a lifetime of believing she had died in a car accident. Now she was standing outside his gates, alive, armed, waiting for him. Luca released Emma's hand. "Stay here." Emma shook her head. "No, Emma. She came because of me too. You don't know that. I know enough." Luca looked at her. For a second, neither spoke. Then he walked toward the stairs. Emma followed. "Don't." He stopped. She stepped beside him. "You told me to stay behind you. I meant it. Then let me." Luca looked into her eyes. Something had changed between them. He couldn't deny it anymore. Trust was no longer a choice. It was becoming instinct. "Stay close. I will." They reached the entrance hall. Marcus stood near the door. "Boss, we've got men positioned on the east and west sides." "How many?" 20. "Double it." Marcus nodded. "And if anyone approaches, don't shoot." Marcus looked surprised. Luca opened the front doors. "Not until I tell you." The rain had stopped. Mist covered the driveway. At the far end of the gates stood a woman in a black coat. Her hair was streaked with silver. Her posture was straight. Her eyes were cold. And in her right hand, a gun. Luca stepped onto the driveway. The woman looked at him. For a moment, neither moved. Then she whispered, "Luca." His heart stopped. Nobody had spoken his name that way in decades. Not with that tenderness. Not with that certainty. He took another step. "Mother?" The woman lowered the gun. "Yes." Luca's face remained expressionless, but his eyes betrayed him. "You're dead." "I know. You've been dead for 24 years. I know. You let me believe you were dead." Her expression cracked. "I had no choice." Luca laughed bitterly. "No choice?" His voice rose. "You let me bury you. I watched you from a distance." "You watched me?" "I had to." "Why?" "Because they were watching you too." Luca stopped. "Who?" Isabella looked toward the mansion. "Everyone." She stepped closer. "Your father discovered a network that had infiltrated the family long before you were born." Luca's expression hardened. "The same network that killed him?" "Yes." Anthony said, "They controlled me." "They did." "How?" Isabella looked at him. "By controlling what you believed." Luca felt a chill. "My father knew?" "He discovered it too late." "Then why didn't he tell me?" "Because you were the reason they couldn't finish what they started." Luca frowned. "What does that mean?" Isabella looked at Emma, then back at him. "Your father knew Daniel Carter had evidence." Emma stepped forward. "What evidence?" Isabella's expression softened. "The evidence that could destroy them." Emma's heart pounded. "My father had it?" "He did." "Where?" Isabella shook her head. "Daniel divided it into 3 pieces." Luca's eyes narrowed. 3? One piece was hidden with the Moretti family, one with the Carter family. And the third? Isabella looked toward the mansion. The third was given to someone neither family suspected. Emma whispered. "Who?" Isabella's eyes moved toward her. "You." Emma froze. "What?" "Your father trusted you more than anyone, but I never knew." That was the point. Luca looked at Emma. The realization hit him. The silver key, the photographs, the letters, her father's warnings. Everything had been leading toward her. Then gunfire erupted. Isabella dropped to the ground. Luca grabbed Emma and pulled her behind a stone column. Bullets ripped through the gates. "Snipers!" Marcus shouted. Luca drew his weapon. "Everyone down!" The mansion exploded into movement. Men rushed into defensive positions. Glass shattered. A bullet struck the column inches from Emma's head. Luca fired toward the hillside. Another shooter fell. "Luca!" Isabella pointed toward the trees. There's more. Luca saw them. Black vehicles emerged from the fog. 5, then 7. Then more. His face changed. How many? Marcus looked through binoculars. At least 40. Luca stared at the approaching convoy. They came prepared. Isabella nodded. They've been waiting for this. Emma looked at the road. That's not an attack. Luca glanced at her. What? They aren't surrounding the mansion. She pointed. They're blocking every exit. Luca understood. They don't want us to escape. No, Emma said. They want what's inside. Luca looked at her. The evidence. She nodded. Exactly. Luca turned to Marcus. Get everyone inside. What about the east gate? Seal it. The west. Seal it. Marcus hesitated. And you? Luca looked at Emma. I'm staying here. Emma stared at him. You're not staying outside. I have to. No. Luca's eyes hardened. Emma. You need me. That's exactly why you're going inside. She grabbed his arm. And what happens when they come through? I stop them. Alone? I won't be alone. She looked around. Dozens of armed men surrounded them. No. Her voice was quiet. You'll have your men. She looked at him. But nobody knows what I know. Luca didn't answer. Emma continued. Your enemy thinks I'm the key. I am the key. You need me to find the evidence before they do. Luca stared at her. He hated it. Because she was right. Fine. He took her hand. But you stay with me. The first vehicle crashed through the gates. Gunfire erupted. Luca's men returned fire. The mansion became a battlefield. Luca moved through the courtyard with terrifying precision. He didn't waste bullets. He didn't hesitate. He fired, moved, reloaded, protected. Emma stayed beside him. She wasn't helpless. She watched the enemy positions. 3 on the roof. Luca turned. Shot. 1 down. 2 behind the black SUV. Luca fired again. Another fell. Emma pointed toward the eastern wall. There's someone there. Luca looked. A man was climbing over the wall. He wasn't carrying a weapon. Instead, he had a small device in his hand. "Imp," Emma said. Luca understood. Everyone inside. The device activated. Every electronic system in the mansion died. Cameras, security, communications, lights, everything. Darkness swallowed the estate. That's what they wanted, Emma whispered. Luca grabbed her hand. Stay with me. They ran inside. Marcus met them. We've lost the security system. I know. Someone is inside. Luca's eyes hardened. How many? We don't know. Emma looked at the hallway. Not many. Luca looked at her. How do you know? Because if they had enough men inside, we'd already be dead. She pointed toward the basement. They're after the vault. Luca nodded. Then, that's where we're going. They reached the hidden passage. The vault door stood open. Luca stopped. We locked it. Emma looked at him. Someone opened it. Inside, the room was empty. The desk had been overturned. The tape recorder was gone. The filing cabinets were open. Documents covered the floor. Emma dropped to her knees. It's gone. Luca looked around. What? The evidence. She picked up a torn piece of paper. Not all of it. Luca crouched. What is that? Emma read the fragment. Her face changed. It's a bank number. Where? Geneva. Luca's eyes narrowed. My father had an account in Geneva. Your father didn't. She looked at him. Daniel did. Luca understood. Then we're going. Emma shook her head. No. What? We can't. Why? She pointed to the paper. Look at the date. Luca did. His face hardened. Tomorrow. Emma nodded. The account becomes accessible tomorrow. Then we'll be there. No. Why? Because that's exactly what they want. Luca stared at her. Emma continued. They know about the account. How? The person who stole the tape recorder knew where we were going. Luca's expression changed. You think there's another traitor? I know there is. A gunshot came from the hallway. Luca immediately pulled Emma behind him. Marcus shouted, "Boss!" Luca raised his gun. A figure appeared in the doorway. Marcus! He was holding a weapon. Luca stared. You. Marcus looked at him. I didn't want this. Emma stepped closer to Luca. Don't. Marcus shook his head. Listen to me. You've been betraying me. I was protecting you. By killing my guards? I didn't kill them. You gave them access to my house. I had no choice. Luca's gun remained steady. Everyone has a choice. Marcus looked at Emma. Your father knew that. Emma frowned. What? Marcus lowered his weapon. He knew exactly what was coming. Luca didn't move. Who are you working for? Marcus looked toward the hallway. No one. Then who gave you the orders? Marcus's eyes filled with fear. Your father. Luca's expression hardened. Stop using his name. He left instructions. You already said that. I found them after his death. Where? Marcus swallowed. In the vault. Emma looked at the empty room. What instructions? Marcus looked at her. To protect the girl. Silence. Luca stared. You were ordered to protect her? Marcus nodded. Not kill her. Then why point a gun at her? Because I needed her to believe I was working for them. Emma's eyes widened. You were undercover. Marcus nodded. I've been inside their organization for 6 years. Luca lowered his weapon slightly. Why didn't you tell me? Because they have people everywhere. Marcus stepped closer. Politicians, police, judges, bankers, and someone inside your family. Luca's expression hardened. Who? Marcus looked at Emma. He's the reason your father died. Before he could continue, a gunshot exploded. Marcus fell. Luca caught him. Blood spread across his shirt. Marcus? Emma dropped beside them. The shot had come from the hallway. Luca looked up. A shadow disappeared around the corner. Stay with him. Emma pressed her hands against Marcus's wound. Luca chased the shooter. He ran through the corridor, down the stairs, past the library. The shadow disappeared through the rear door. Luca fired. Missed? He ran outside. A black car sped away. Then he saw the license plate. His expression changed. He knew that car. It belonged to one of his family's oldest allies. Luca returned to the mansion. Emma was still kneeling beside Marcus. He's alive. Luca nodded. Good. He looked toward the road. Whoever did this is connected to the family. Emma stood. We have to leave. Luca looked at her. No? They'll come back. Exactly. We need to get to Geneva. Tomorrow. No. She looked at him. Tonight. Luca frowned. The account isn't accessible until tomorrow. The account isn't the target. What is? The person waiting for us. Luca stared at her. Emma held up the torn paper. Your father knew someone would eventually find this. She looked at the number. And he didn't leave it to give us money. Then why? To give us a name. They left the estate through an underground tunnel. Only Luca, Emma, and 2 trusted men knew about it. The mansion burned behind them. Luca looked back once. His entire home was being consumed by fire. Everything his father had built, everything he had inherited, everything he had trusted, gone. Emma touched his arm. I'm sorry. He looked at her. Don't be. You lost everything. Luca shook his head. No. His eyes remained on the flames. I lost a building. Then he looked at her. I still have you. Emma froze. Neither spoke. Luca seemed to realize what he'd said. He looked away, but Emma didn't. She stepped closer. You mean that? Yes. The answer came immediately. No hesitation. No calculation. Just truth. Emma's eyes filled with tears. I don't know what happens next. Neither do I. What if we don't survive? Luca looked at her. Then I regret nothing, she whispered. You shouldn't say things like that. Why? Because I might believe you. Luca reached for her hand. Their fingers intertwined. Then he pulled her closer. For the first time, there was no gunfire. No enemy. No secrets between them. Emma looked up. Luca leaned down. Their lips were inches apart. Then, a gunshot shattered the silence. One of the two guards fell. Luca shoved Emma to the ground. Another shot. The second guard collapsed. Luca rolled behind the vehicle. Stay down! Emma crawled behind the engine block. Where are they? 3, 4. Luca looked at her. How do you know? 4 shots. He smiled faintly. Good. Emma looked around. There's a drainage tunnel behind us. Can you reach it? Yes. Go. What about you? I'll follow. No. Emma. She looked at him. You promised. What? That I wouldn't watch you die. Luca stared at her. Then nodded. Go. Emma ran. Luca fired into the darkness. He hit one, then another. But the third shooter moved faster. A bullet struck Luca in the shoulder. He staggered. Emma screamed. Luca! He dropped to one knee. Blood soaked through his shirt. The shooter emerged from the darkness. Luca raised his gun. The man kicked it away, then pointed his weapon at Luca's head. Emma stopped. The man smiled. Drop your weapon. Emma slowly lowered hers. Good. He grabbed her. Luca tried to stand. The shooter hit him again. He fell. Emma screamed. Leave him! The man dragged her backward. Luca reached for her. His fingers touched hers. For 1 second, they held on. Then the man's grip tore them apart. Emma was pulled into the darkness. Luca forced himself up. Emma! She screamed his name. Then the tunnel doors slammed shut. Silence. Luca staggered toward them. Blood ran down his arm. He pounded against the steel. Emma. Nothing. His phone vibrated. One message. A photograph. Emma tied to a chair. A man standing behind her. And beside him, a woman. Isabella Moretti, Luca's mother. Under the photograph were 6 words. Come alone, or she dies tonight. Luca stared at the screen. Then another message appeared. Bring the key. His hand closed around the silver key Emma had given him. For the first time in his life, Luca Moretti had no army, no empire, no protection. Only one choice. Walk into the enemy's hands alone, or let the woman he loved die. He looked toward the darkness and whispered, I'm coming for you. Luca stood alone in the darkness. Blood ran from his shoulder. His mansion was burning behind him. His men were scattered. His empire was collapsing. And Emma was in the hands of the people who had spent 11 years trying to destroy his family. His phone vibrated again. 1 hour. Then another message. Come alone. Luca looked at the silver key in his hand. Number 17. The key that had started everything. He slipped it into his pocket. Then he walked toward the waiting black car. The abandoned church stood beyond the old industrial district. Its windows were broken. Its doors were hanging from rusted hinges. No lights, no guards, no visible movement. Exactly the kind of place Luca would have filled with men. Instead, he arrived alone. He stepped out of the car. His injured shoulder burned with every movement. He ignored it. A voice came through the darkness. "Put your gun on the ground." Luca stopped. "I came for Emma." Gun. Luca slowly removed it. He placed it on the ground. Then another weapon. Then a knife. He raised his hands. "Now bring her out." A man stepped from the shadows. Luca recognized him. Anthony Vale's former security chief. The man who had disappeared 6 years ago. "You're late. You have 10 seconds. The man smiled. "You're still giving orders." "I'm still deciding how long you live." The man laughed. Then the church doors opened. Emma was brought outside. Her wrists were tied. Her face was bruised, but she was alive. "Luca." He took one step forward. A gun pressed against Emma's head. "Stop." Luca froze. Emma looked at him. "Don't give them what they want." The man smiled. "She's clever. She always has been." Then another figure emerged. A woman. Black coat. Silver hair. Cold eyes. Isabella Moretti. Luca's mother. She walked toward him. "You came. You took her. I had to. You had a choice. So did your father." Luca's expression hardened. "You're working with them." Isabella shook her head. "No." "Then why is she tied up?" "To keep her alive." Emma looked at her. "You expect me to believe that?" Isabella's eyes softened. "You should." Luca stared at his mother. "Enough games." He stepped forward. "Tell me who killed my father." Isabella looked at him for a long moment. Then she said, "Your father was not killed by your uncle." Luca's jaw tightened. Anthony said, "Anthony lied." "Why?" "Because he was protecting the real traitor." Emma suddenly understood. The person inside the family. Isabella nodded. Not just inside the family. She looked toward the darkness. Inside everything. A slow clap echoed through the church. Luca turned. A man stepped into the moonlight. Luca's face went completely still. Victor, his uncle, the man who was supposed to have died 6 years ago, the man whose funeral Luca had attended, the man who had shaped his childhood. Victor smiled. "Hello, nephew." Emma's breathing stopped. Luca stared at him. "You're dead." Victor laughed. "Apparently, I've been very difficult to kill." Luca's hands curled into fists. "You killed my father." "No." Victor stepped closer. "I convinced your father to trust the wrong people." "Same thing." "Not quite." Victor looked at Isabella. "She knows." Luca's eyes moved to his mother. "What does she know?" Isabella's expression broke. "She knows your father discovered the organization." "What organization?" Victor answered. "The Black Circle." Luca frowned. Victor continued. "A network that has controlled criminal organizations, banks, judges, politicians, and law firms for decades. You worked for them. I worked with them. And my father? He tried to destroy them." Luca understood. That was why he died. Victor nodded. "But there was one problem." "What?" "You." Luca stared at him. "Your father knew they would eventually come after you. So he hid the evidence." "Exactly." Emma spoke. "He divided it." Victor looked at her. "Daniel Carter was clever. He gave pieces to 3 people." Emma continued. "His closest friend, your mother, and me." Victor smiled. "And that's why you've been hunted." Emma's eyes narrowed. "You couldn't find the 3rd piece." "We found the key." "No." Victor's smile faded. "We found the vault, but not what was inside." Luca looked at Emma. She was staring at Victor. Then she smiled faintly. Victor noticed. "What?" Emma said nothing. Victor stepped toward her. "Where is it?" Emma looked at Luca. He understood immediately. She had something. Something Victor didn't know about. The third piece. She had it. Not in the vault. Not in the bank. With her. Luca looked at her. She subtly nodded. Victor raised his gun. "Give it to me." Emma shook her head. "You'll kill us anyway. You have my word." "You don't have a word. You don't have a word." Victor's expression hardened. Emma continued. "You have a pattern." She looked around. "Kill witnesses, replace identities, fake deaths, control information." Victor's smile disappeared. "You've been learning. My father taught me. He taught you enough to get him killed." Emma's face tightened. Luca stepped forward. "Don't talk about her father." Victor looked at him. "You still don't understand." "Then explain." Victor smiled. "Your father wasn't the only one who betrayed the family." Luca froze. "Who else?" Victor looked at Isabella. "Your mother." Luca's expression changed. "That's a lie." Isabella closed her eyes. "No." Luca stared at her. "Mother? I betrayed your father." The words came quietly. Luca looked like he'd been struck. "Why?" "Because I was trying to save you. You disappeared. I was forced to. You let me bury you. I had to. You watched me become this." Isabella's eyes filled with tears. "I watched you become strong enough to survive." Luca's voice cracked. "You could have come back. If I had, they would have killed you." Victor interrupted. "She made the right choice." Luca turned toward him. "You don't get to speak about my family." Victor raised his gun. "Unfortunately, I do." A phone rang. Victor answered. "Yes?" Silence. His expression changed. "What?" He listened, then looked toward Emma. The Geneva account was accessed. Emma smiled. Victor stared at her. "You." She nodded. "I knew you'd come here." Victor's eyes narrowed. "How?" "Because the bank account wasn't the trap." Luca understood. Emma had planned this. The entire time. She had known Victor would follow the evidence. She had known he would come for her. She had known he would bring himself into the open. Victor looked furious. "What did you do?" Emma looked at Luca. "I sent the evidence to the people who could expose him." Victor raised his gun. Luca moved. A shot exploded. Isabella shoved Emma aside. The bullet struck her shoulder. She fell. "Mother!" Luca lunged forward. Chaos erupted. Gunfire filled the church. Luca grabbed Emma and pulled her behind a stone pillar. "Are you hurt?" "No." "Stay here." "No." "Emma, you need to move." She pointed toward the balcony. "Two shooters." Luca looked. She was right. He fired twice. One fell. The other disappeared behind the railing. Emma looked toward Victor. "He's going for the evidence." Luca nodded. "Stay down." He ran. Victor disappeared through the rear doors. Luca followed. They entered the cemetery behind the church. Fog covered the graves. Victor fired over his shoulder. Luca ducked. Another shot. Luca moved between the tombstones. "Victor!" No answer. Then a gunshot came from behind. Luca turned. Victor stood 10 feet away, gun raised. "It's over." Victor smiled. "For you." Luca fired. Victor dropped his weapon. But before Luca could reach him, Victor pulled a second gun from his coat. Emma appeared behind him. "Luca." Victor turned toward her. He fired. Luca moved between them. The bullet struck his chest. He staggered. Emma screamed. "Luca!" He dropped to his knees. Victor smiled. Then Emma raised a gun. She fired. Victor fell backward. Silence. Emma ran to Luca. "No." She dropped beside him. Blood soaked his shirt. "Luca, look at me." He struggled to breathe. "I'm okay." "You're not okay." He tried to smile. "It's not the first time. Don't joke." She pressed her hands against the wound. "I should have stayed with you." "You did." "I should have told you everything." "You did." "I should have." Luca reached for her face. "Emma." She looked into his eyes. "I love you." She froze. He smiled faintly. "I should have said it sooner." Tears ran down her face. "You don't get to say that and then die." "I wasn't planning to." "Then don't." "I'll try." She laughed through her tears. Then footsteps approached. Marcus. Alive. He stumbled toward them. "Boss." Luca looked up. "Marcus?" Bullet went through. Marcus looked at Victor's body. "It's over." Luca closed his eyes for a moment. "No." Marcus frowned. "What?" Luca looked at Emma. "Not yet." He forced himself upright. "There are still people connected to him." Emma nodded. "The evidence." Marcus held up a phone. "We have it." Luca stared. "Where?" "Everywhere." Marcus smiled. Daniel Carter had a contingency plan. Emma looked confused. "What?" Marcus handed her the phone. "Your father arranged for the evidence to be released automatically if anything happened to you." Emma stared at the screen. Files. Names. Bank accounts. Photographs. Recordings. Politicians. Judges. Mafia leaders. Police commanders. Everything. The black circle was exposed. And there was one final recording. Emma pressed play. Her father's voice filled the cemetery. "Emma, if you are hearing this, then you survived." She covered her mouth. "I need you to know something." A pause. "You were never the target." Emma looked at Luca. "You were the reason I knew they could be stopped." Her tears fell. "And Luca." Luca looked at the phone. "Your father loved you more than you ever understood." Another pause. "He knew you would become the man the family needed." Emma's hand trembled. "But he also knew you would become a man who needed someone to remind him he was still human." The recording ended. Silence. Luca looked at Emma. She smiled through her tears. "I think he knew me too." Luca took her hand. "He knew both of us." 3 months later, the Moretti Empire no longer existed. The Black Circle had collapsed. Hundreds of arrests followed. Politicians resigned. Bank accounts were frozen. Families turned against one another. The old criminal order that had controlled Chicago for decades was gone. Luca testified privately. He gave up most of his family's operations. The businesses that remained were legal, clean. His father's name was finally cleared, and the Moretti mansion was never rebuilt. Instead, Luca bought a smaller house outside the city. No armed guards, no hidden passages, no secret rooms. For the first time in his life, he had a home instead of a fortress. Emma stood on the back porch one autumn evening. She held 2 cups of coffee. Luca walked outside. "You're awake early. You're awake late. I own the house. You're still annoying." "I miss that." She smiled. He took the coffee from her. For a moment, they simply stood together. Then Emma noticed something. Luca was holding a small box. "What is that?" He looked at her. "Something I should have done differently." She opened it. Inside was the silver key. Number 17. She laughed softly. "You kept it?" "Of course." "What does it open now?" Luca took her hand. "Nothing." He closed her fingers around it. "That's the point." Emma looked at him. The key had once opened a vault full of secrets. Now it was only a reminder of everything they had survived, of the families they had lost, of the truth that had almost destroyed them. Luca stepped closer. "I spent my entire life protecting an empire." Emma looked up at him. "And now?" Now I want to protect something else. What? He smiled. You. She shook her head. You don't need to protect me. I know. Then what do you want? Luca took a breath. For once, he looked into her eyes. I want to choose you. Emma smiled. You already did. He leaned closer. And I'd choose you again. Their lips met. No gunfire. No enemies. No secrets. Just silence. Just warmth. Just two people who had survived a world built on betrayal. Emma rested her forehead against his. Do you ever think about that night? The warehouse? The night you almost killed me? Luca smiled. Every day. Why? Because if I had pulled that trigger, he looked at her, I would have killed the only person who ever saved me. Emma squeezed his hand. You didn't. No. He glanced at the silver key. I think that was the first time I finally made the right choice. The wind moved softly through the trees. For years, Luca had believed power meant controlling everything around him. Now he understood something his father had known all along. The greatest choice a powerful man could make was deciding what he was willing to lose everything for, and Luca Moretti had finally chosen. Not the empire, not the bloodline, not revenge. Her.